And now, insurance-minded speeches from Geico.
It's a common expression, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. However, what if the horse's mouth is filled with useful insurance tools? This is the exact case with the Geico app. Yes, the app is free and therefore a gift horse. However, look inside the app and behold, emergency roadside assistance, digital ID cards, bill pay. Get the Geico app. Look it in the mouth. Get amazing services. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event. Are you ready?
Oh, yeah!
And now, coming to you live from the .biz radio network on ProWrestling.biz and presented by Wrestling-News.net, it's Main Event Madness. Madness Unleashed. We are your reaction show, so call 914-803-4532 and use the hashtag MEM Live on Twitter to connect with us during the show. And now, here are your hosts for tonight's show, John Curry, Mark Madison, and Mike Holland. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Main Event Madness WrestleMania Reaction Show. Yeah. For those who did watch, and I imagine you all did, kind of at a loss for words. Just by judging quickly at the ending of that, pretty sure it's we just saw the end of The Undertaker, and not a sight that too many people wanted to see. With me tonight, awaiting some others, but with me tonight, co-hosting is the host of the Evan Ginsberg Show on Village Connection Radio, the incomparable Evan Ginsberg. Hello, sir. Evan, are you there, sir? Bear with us, folks, but this WrestleMania was a mixed bag. And first of all, just judging by the tone of my voice, pretty sure this is why WWE should not have 7 hours of programming from 5 p.m. Eastern until midnight. But we're going to hit a quick commercial break, and when we come back, I'm going to bring Evan Ginsberg on. We're going to talk about WrestleMania, break it all down for you guys. This is Main Event Madness Radio. All right. Wrestling podcasts are a dime a dozen these days, but you want a show that you can feel is yours, and a show you can react on and react with. Well, ask and you shall receive. Main Event Madness is now your reaction show, as we're live after every pay-per-view at 11:30 p.m. Eastern. BlogTalkRadio.com/ProWrestling.biz and Wrestling-News.net are the places to be, as we have new episodes every Sunday. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Main Event Madness. Madness Unleashed, a ProWrestling.biz radio network production. We here at Main Event Madness pride ourselves on being able to connect with all of you during the show and, more importantly, after the show. And you want more ways to do it? No problem. Facebook.com/Main Event Madness is the official Facebook page of Main Event Madness, and it's loaded with columns, news, opinions, as well as upcoming guests, showtimes, and more. Check us out and give us a like today, facebook.com/Main Event Madness. So you're a wrestling fan, and you want news, and you love hearing about different shows. No problem. Wrestling-news.net has you covered with news on all of your favorite promotions, including exclusives you won't find anywhere else. Also, Wayne Daly has you covered with results from shows almost anywhere in the globe. Check them out today. Wrestling-news.net.
CrewRoundtable.com is the place to find discussion and analysis on all the hot news topics taking place in the Greater Toronto Area. Join CrewRoundtable.com for fun and entertaining talk on news, current events, and listener-suggested topics. Unlike mainstream media, CrewRoundtable.com gives you all sides to the story so you can make up your own mind. Visit CrewRoundtable.com.
All right, folks, we're back here on Main Event Madness Radio, and I am joined tonight by the host of the Evan Ginsberg Show on Village Connection Radio. Evan, how are you?
I'm good. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I reconnected. We are all set to go.
All right, great.
I believe we have a second caller with us from the 347 area code. Hello.
Hi, how you guys doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. Talk about WrestleMania real quick?
Sure, what's on your mind?
The show as a whole, I thought was pretty good. There were a few moments during the show that I was like, I wasn't too sure about. The proposal being one of them, I thought that was really stupid. I thought that didn't need to happen. I thought the match that Cena, Miz, Maurice, and Nikki Bella had was way too short. And then they ended it with the that proposal, and I was just like, people make fun of WWE for being like a soap opera, but that was really, really soap opera-ish. It was kind of ridiculous. The main event, Reigns versus Taker, was it was not a great match by any means. Taker, whether or not he's going to retire, I think that's still up in the air, but I thought that was a really bad main event. I thought Orton and Wyatt should have went last.
Yeah, I thought the timing was really screwed up, and we're going to get to that in a few minutes here, dissecting a little bit the show that was WrestleMania 33. I don't know what match it was that went too long, if there was one. I mean, I think the Pitbull concert we all could have done without, but just the fact that they all got, in the Raw women's match, they all got interested. In the SmackDown one, they all got rushed. For Natalya, had to walk to the Ring of the Dark, which I thought was a little bit disrespectful. But I don't know. I know WrestleMania is supposed to be the combination of sports and entertainment, but could have done without the Pitbull concert. Pitbull, Flo Rida. But nonetheless, it wasn't all bad, and thank you for the call. I do appreciate it.
No problem.
Evan, what were your thoughts tonight? And if you guys want to connect with us, and thank you again to that caller, if you guys want to call in, the number is 914-803-4532. That's 914-803-4532. And also hashtag MEM Live on Twitter. Evan, your initial reaction from WrestleMania 33.
I didn't think anything was great. I didn't think anything was terrible. When the smoke cleared, I thought it was a very good show. However, you hit the nail on the head. Austin Aries' match came on about 5:45, and there's no reason that any wrestling show should be 6 hours and change, and it's just overkill basically. And when there's nothing spectacular, it kind of becomes a blur after 6 hours. And what I was left with was The Undertaker seemingly retiring in a very good match. He's had better, he's had worse also, and I thought Triple H and Seth Rollins was very good, but not great because it was ultimately predictable. I thought it was interesting as an old school fan watching him because Killer Kowalski trained him, and Kowalski always worked the leg, so you could see he went back to his roots. And but there was really not one match that I would give over 4 stars to. I don't think there's anything I'd even give 4 stars to. But there were several good matches and several forgettable matches, but ultimately it's too much. It's just too much. Less is more. Austin Aries and Neville should have been like the co-feature on the next pay-per-view and really showcased it. To put it on at 5:45 when people are still walking into the building is almost a waste because it happened to have been a good match.
Yeah, it was exhausting to watch all of that. And it was unfortunate. I remember when I was at 31, the arena was like maybe halfway full by the time they started the match, and it just sucked. I mean, yeah, they're still wrestling in front of 30,000 people, but that notwithstanding. And before we go any further, we are also joined tonight by my co-host that's with me each and every week here on Main Event Madness. He's a writer for about 9,452 different websites. Mr. Mark Madison.
How you doing, guys?
Good.
We're doing.
Good.
I was very happy Brock Lesnar beat Goldberg.
Yeah.
Although
and
that
10
was
German
kind of,
suplexes, it was quite...
Yeah, Goldberg got suplexed right out of WWE. It's not entirely a bad thing.
No. It was actually a better match than you had any hope of expecting. It was back and forth. It went about 5 minutes, and it was actually entertaining for what it was, as opposed to a 30-second squash or whatever. So I actually enjoyed it.
Yeah, Lesnar got his retribution, and they put some kink in the armor. I think the build towards these two was done about as well as it was going to be. All indications, reading in interviews from not Lesnar, but Goldberg, is that this whole process, he just was miserable. He wasn't happy about it. The fact that his family was able to see him was great. He had his moment, and he's done. And, is he done? Ideally, but, let's see whatever else is out there for him.
And in those handful of matches, he made some good money.
Yeah, so that's all that mattered, really.
I was reading that over the weekend and seeing that Goldberg was miserable and this and that, and I was just like, dude, nobody put a gun to your head and said, hey, you need to wrestle in WWE. It's not like he had to sign a deal to wrestle at Survivor Series, let alone a 3 or 4 match deal after that.
No.
And the fact that they took the belt. Oh, go ahead.
No, I mean, I don't think he had anticipated, maybe what he had thought one time isn't what the reality was. I don't think he was miserable when he first started, but I think maybe some of the PR, some of the pressure, some of the extra stuff that he could kind of be out of the spotlight, which he generally was, he didn't need to, and maybe that just wasn't for him either. So
I think it's great to win 30-second matches. I don't think it's as great, when fans are booing you and criticizing you on social media, and I don't think he expected all of that. So it's a different world than it was 20 years ago. And, the invincible Superman thing, is good and fine, but you're taking a regular guy's spot, you're taking a regular guy's title, you're taking a regular guy's payday. I don't think he expected all of that, and he seems to basically be a decent person, and it probably bothered him. So he made his money. He's in and out, and WWE made their money off of him. And when all is said and done, I guess it worked out.
How many people though actually enjoyed this run from Goldberg though? I mean, his matches were what, maybe 10 minutes combined? I mean, I don't know how many people, and I'll put that out as a tweet. I'll put that out as a poll, and try to get a little bit of feedback before the end of the show. If people actually enjoyed this run for Goldberg, it feels like it was something where they couldn't get Hogan, they couldn't get Rock, they couldn't get Austin to do something. They're like, well, who's left? We can go with Goldberg. Okay. That was something fans wanted to see 10 years ago. Maybe it'll work now.
The other thing you have to understand is Vince always grew up on the super heavyweights, the Battle of the Giants. They had Hogan and Andre with, Hogan is the heel and Andre is the face years earlier. That was a main event that went around the circuit. This is what he knows. Big John Studd against Andre the Giant. And, this is what he always feels is the big draw. 2 super heavyweights, 2 monsters. And he's always going to go back to what he's comfortable with. And that's why I think he went to, because from the previous WrestleMania match, it was horrible. This was actually a better match tonight.
You're not wrong.
What's that?
I said you're not wrong.
Right. So,
but let's talk and another match that got a little bit of me, not my feathers ruffled, but I don't know. I didn't really care for it, and that was the women's title match. Even though Bayley won, all this work and effort that they've done in the last couple of years for Nia Jax to be built up as this unstoppable monster, and
I think
sorry,
John, I totally disagree with you, but go for it. Because
I would have liked to see
it
her last longer in the match than she did.
Yes, but let's look at it. It took all 3 other women. It took 3 women piled on top of her to get her pinned. I mean, if that didn't say something about how dominant she was as a force and a threat, that it took everybody else to come together to take her out because she was the biggest threat. Now, could she have lasted as longer? Probably not. But I think it says still, I don't think she's hurt in the least because of what that match said. I mean, everything that was a combined effort, a triple power bomb, a triple clothesline, everything was just multiple to take her down because no one woman was even a match for her. So if the story being told is you're a monster and it takes, 12 limbs to be piled on top of you and compressing all their weight to hold you down, that was something. So I don't think she's hurt in least. I think she's still going to be a threat.
I think what hurt them in that match was the fact that they have 87 women on payroll, and you keep seeing the same matchups over and over and over again. How many times are you going to watch those 4 women? Give somebody else a chance. I mean, I was watching.
Yeah, they don't have a very.
I was watching Asuka last night, with Ember Moon, and I'm like, this is a damn good match. And Asuka, wrestles circles around everybody. So, why not push her through the roof? How many times you're going to watch Bayley and Sasha and Charlotte? It's tedious. It's getting to be like Cena and Randy Orton 240 times.
Well, the women's on SmackDown seems deeper anyway. With the 6 women, you have some difference. You can work. I think there's like 6, maybe 8 if you include Maurice. They've actually got double. So that's the side that they need to develop more or bring more up. And but Asuka just being this machine, I don't want her necessarily now just leaving NXT. Not yet anyway. She's she's got this cocky kind of swagger to her too now, and it's just fun to watch her in a whole different light.
She's just heads and tails better than all the other women. I mean, you know, at least her with Charlotte, I think they'd have a good match. You know, whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I get tired of seeing the same people over and over. It feels like a rerun sometimes.
You know, one thing I noticed and realized during WrestleMania, in the last year and a half, 2 years, every single women's title match has featured Charlotte since she started feuding with Nikki Bella back in 2015.
Really?
Every single one. And if I'm wrong on that, people, please correct me. But, I mean, she feuded with Nikki, then she was champion, then she won the women's title, then she feuded with Sasha, then she feuded with Bayley, then she feuded with Sasha. Like, it's just been the same thing. And I get it. Triple H loves Ric Flair. I get it. But for the love of God, let somebody else, let Sasha and Bayley have a one-on-one feud. Let Nia, Sasha, and Bayley fight it out.
Yeah, Sasha and Bayley are comparable in size also. It kind of makes sense. The thing that annoyed me tonight, and I basically enjoyed the show. Like I said at the start, I didn't think anything was great. I didn't think anything was terrible. But all in all, it was a good, albeit endless show. It was 6 hours. But I did not like the fact that Bray Wyatt, who I just saw headline Madison Square Garden, and who really came off as a major star at the Garden, to see him lose to Randy Orton, who's 13-time champion. I mean, you know, build the young stars. Don't keep going back to the same guys. What are you going to have, Orton and Cena forever? You know, what are you going to do with Orton at this point? Wyatt's such a great persona, and he's a great performer. And I also didn't like the 1950s cheesy special effects, but that's a different issue. What do you guys think about Wyatt losing?
You know, I'm actually more okay with it than I thought it would be. And I'm a little surprised about that. But I think
what are you okay about with it?
The fact that AJ Styles has been quoted in a bunch of interviews that he wants to face and feud with Randy Orton.
I saw AJ Styles and Orton in Madison Square Garden a few weeks ago. It was nothing special. Yeah, 3 stars.
I don't know. It's something different. Listen, don't get me wrong. I don't like the fact that Wyatt won, but I'm more okay with it than I thought it would be. But maybe it's only the start. Maybe it's a trilogy. And maybe it's actually long-term booking from WWE, something they don't do.
They'll probably have a rematch on Payback. But so what?
Yeah,
it wasn't that great to begin with tonight.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have much more to say. All I can say is that I just was more okay with it than I thought it would be. I know Mark was pretty heated about it.
Just disappointed because I don't think it helped. If you're trying to build him, you get more credibility beating a 13-time champion. Guess it's not the end of the world. Kind of curious to see what unfolds with the story. But I guess with SmackDown, they generally have done things pretty well. So I'm just be curious to see what comes about. Listen, I had my mark out moment. I was, when the Hardys were announced, if you guys, unless you've touched upon it already, that was the holy poop moment. It was great to see them come out, fans biting in with the lead. I don't know. My night was kind of set with that. I was able to do everything else, not worry much about, and I just enjoyed it. So
the Hardys got the biggest reaction of the night, and
yeah,
Creative is working on the other 3 tag teams forever. These guys came in 2 minutes, got a better reaction, so that says something about Creative. I think they've neutered Gallows and Anderson. I mean, that was like the number one tag team in the world when they were in New Japan, and you know, they're nothing special in WWE. And Cesaro and Sheamus, they're mired in mid-card hell, and Enzo and Cass are a comedy act. And then the Hardys come out, and you know, they're superstars to the fans. I mean, they got the biggest pop of the night for sure, and the match itself was excellent.
There's one thing depressing about that.
What's that?
Tell me. Sure.
It didn't have the Broken Hardys gimmick.
We don't know how. They were announced as the Hardys, but we don't know what. They didn't speak. They didn't get a chance. But there were some, you know, delete motions with Matt if you caught it, and the fans were, so he's playing out to it a little bit. But you're right, we didn't get that build, but they had to, I guess, had to establish them as we knew them, as opposed to saying, heck, even when they were introduced, you know, the universe is about to get broken. They really played up to that when it came to Michael Cole, and they definitely acknowledged, or at least alluded to it.
That's true. And I tweeted it out earlier, despite my massive displeasure with the main event. Regardless of it, Raw's going to be interesting tomorrow.
What was your massive displeasure that Undertaker lost?
You know, I've calmed down a little bit, but at the time, I just didn't want to see Taker lose, and I was kind of laughing about it before it came on the air, that I never thought people would be more pissed off about the second loss than they were the first loss.
Well, here's the thing. Let me play devil's advocate. Okay. In the old days, you would get a named star who was aging, and they would put over the younger guy. This is a common thing in pro wrestling, and you know, Undertaker's 52, I believe.
Yep. Yeah.
So he's 52. Reigns is literally like half his age, and Reigns is the guy they're
just
pushing.
turned 30.
Okay, well, about half his age, right? So so Reigns is the number one merchandise guy from what I just read, and who are they going to push? So you know, Undertaker's slowing down, which you could see in the match, and I don't know. I guess as far as old school mentality, he did the right thing. He put over the younger guy that they're pushing. And I didn't have a big problem with it, but then again, I don't hate Roman Reigns and I don't worship the Undertaker. I just root for a good match, so which it basically was.
See, I was disappointed in the match quality. I didn't care whether Undertaker
wasn't great. Yeah.
No. And I think like Undertaker he looked like he was in pain. Every movement, he was laboring, and he's been slowing down for years and years. And I want to remember Taker as he was, not as what we're seeing. Maybe that's just me, and to see something less than the guy that could walk the ropes and do that, it's unfortunate because, yeah, he is 52, and that's the reality of it. So, you know, even when he's putting on Hell's Gate, it wasn't the way we would have seen it tighter. No. So, I mean, he couldn't do the the last ride. I mean, that looked uncomfortable. So
it was noticeable that he was slowing down, that he was in pain, and you know, for that reason alone, it's time to go. And you know, when I was a kid, I would see these guys who were major stars around the world, and all of a sudden they were in their 40s or 50s, and they were jobbers, and it was sad. It was actually sad, and at least you didn't get to see him as a jobber, you know, which. You know, he went out in a building with 75,000 people allegedly, or whatever the real number is, and you know, he went out on top. He went out in the main event of WrestleMania. There are sadder stories in wrestling, believe me. I've seen it. I've seen guys that headlined the Garden, you know, 5 or 10 years later jobbing. it's a brutal business, man. So he did better than most.
Oh, well said.
Yeah.
Now let's talk the Intercontinental Championship in a match that nobody knew it was going to be. Oh, it's horrible, and nobody knew it was going to be on the pre-show, let alone the fact that Dean Ambrose was going to retain. That just, to me, stunts Baron Corbin, because after winning the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal last year and then following it up the year after and winning the Intercontinental title, I felt would have been a very big coming out party for Baron Corbin. Would have been great for him to maybe go in and be a dark horse for Money in the Bank. Maybe not even a dark horse, maybe almost a favorite. And really be kind of pushed as a really, really top heel on SmackDown. But instead, I mean, where does he go from here? Because if he can't beat Dean Ambrose, how does anybody expect him to go up the ladder to the main event and be able to beat Randy Orton or Bray Wyatt or AJ Styles? I don't.
I think he's still going to be contending. I think he's still going to contend. I mean, he's not to say that he won't win it and he won't beat Dean eventually. Maybe it's not on this occasion. Maybe they want to build up this feud a little bit. And they had titles change hands. We had new champions given tonight. Not everybody was going to win a title. And I think it was kind of balanced. So we'll see. I still think Corbin's going to win the Intercontinental title. I think they've got big enough plans for him. He's a lot more athletic. He's a lot more mobile than, say, the Braun Strowman on Raw's side. So, and he can promo pretty well. So I don't think that's a concern. At least long term, I still can see him winning the title. And maybe it's not against Dean Ambrose. Maybe Dean drops it some way else. Maybe Corbin in some way costs him the title. Who knows? But I think those two should be intertwined a little bit because it'll help Corbin, and he's going to learn from the guy that's been around a little bit longer and a little more seasoned. So, no qualms with that.
You know who else is really looking really bad coming out of WrestleMania? The Miz.
Who?
Miz.
Looking bad. How so?
I don't know. Just lost the Intercontinental title earlier in the year to Dean Ambrose. Then was thrown into the feud with Cena and lost. And it's just, I don't know, especially as quickly as they lost, I just don't know I don't know who Miz can feud with to regain what he lost from that Cena match.
He can make the Marine 6. I don't know.
Maybe my hope of Apollo Crews finally being written well will come to fruition, and they'll be able to capitalize on him being a good talent and doing more. But I think the biggest lack, not really having much of personality, tends to be what's lacking for him. But then, trying to elevate younger guys, and they don't have a deep roster on SmackDown as it is. So, but who knows? Maybe we see a certain Japanese wrestler show up on Tuesday and blow the doors off. That's where I hope. I hope he debuts on a Tuesday instead of the Monday. So.
Well, that is the talk that he's going to be on SmackDown this week.
In which case, I'm gonna have to jump from Raw to SmackDown because I can't watch WWE every night of my life. So I'll have to switch because I love Nakamura.
See, Evan, I think Tuesday should have been the day you're watching anyway. You have less reason to dislike the product.
Probably, but I'm just such a big mark for Kevin Owens. I would miss watching him. The guy's hilarious. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and that's another one. I'm very happy with that. It's kind of in the same breath as The Undertaker and Roman Reigns. Chris Jericho's WWE run is reportedly coming to a close pretty soon here. So it's looking like Chris Jericho is going to be doing the favors on his way out. And giving up the belt is the first step in that process. I would love it to go to like a last man standing or stretcher match or even an I Quit match. Just something like that. Just get creative. Let these guys just not necessarily beat the holy hell out of each other, but tell a story. And if it just so happens that that involves beating the hell out of each other, then so be it. But I mean, these two, Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho, was a feud that was old school. It was a feud that it was so simple. It was so simple yet intriguing, and it was betrayal. And that's all the story was about. And Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho did a great job tonight, I think. What do you guys think?
I think Jericho's doing the right thing. He's 46 years old. He's putting over his buddy, who's also excellent, and I think it all makes sense.
Mark?
It was good. I guess I was maybe hoping for more, but I mean, you're going to get a good match out of these guys too, and they were going back and forth. I think just the finish of the spot on the apron that he's done so many times just kind of popped up out of nowhere, it felt like. But I mean, splitting hairs on it ultimately, I agree, but that's Jericho. He does business the right way. He's always been the guy to put over someone. If the belief is that we're going to go behind this talent, although I think he's probably regretting the whole Fandango thing, but otherwise at WrestleMania, not too many bad calls made on him putting over the better guy.
And you're right. The match itself was good, very good, but it wasn't great, and it was a little disappointing. It wasn't quite as good as you expected it. You expected this, great, violent cap off to a feud, and it really didn't quite deliver.
Yeah. I tend to wonder if they're given info. You've got 10 minutes. Watch your spots, because they're always protective of the main event. They're always protective of the world title. But the thing is, that you've got quality talent and workers of guys that will give you the bang for your buck. They should be helping to elevate that crowd, and the crowd even seemed flat for it. So, which is really strange, because maybe it's them not being able to feed off of anything from the talent. So I don't know.
Also, throughout my childhood, the second match was not a big deal. It was usually you didn't get to the top matches till the third or fourth match on the card. So
I know
it was just a weird spot.
Seasoned and warmed up.
Yeah, weird spot, and ultimately I was a little disappointed, and I enjoyed the Triple H match with Seth Rollins, although it was predictable, and I enjoyed the Undertaker match, although he was slowing down. Obviously, nothing was great, but nothing was terrible. It was just was what it was.
For as much criticism as she receives, kudos to a 36-year-old woman, mother of 3, going through a table. I don't care. I give them credit for that. And she sold it really well, looking all unconscious at the end there. So I think that might have been maybe the most impressive thing. Although
I was happy to see her
if
finally get hers.
But it seems like that's becoming common practice when she's involved in a Triple H match and she's in there. Last year she got speared, right? I think by Reigns. Was it last year?
Yes.
Yeah, so last year she got speared by Reigns. This year she goes through a table because of Triple H. Although, even how that happened was a little awkward, but the fact that she went through was good. And then, but kind of surprising, didn't see Joe show up, didn't see Balor show up, but I guess we'll be pleased to see them both be on Raw tomorrow and then build towards the next pay-per-view. But surprised by the Andre the Giant Battle Royal that a Strowman didn't win if he's the favor, or Sami Zayn didn't come out. I mean, I know it's a nothing. It really has become a nothing trophy that Mojo Rawling is the winner of it, but it just seems strange that you had guys that you think that they're using them. Maybe they're not using them well, but they're using them. That's the next step. The fact that a New England Patriot has to get involved to create some sort of buzz.
It was like a jabroni battle royale. It was
really
pretty
was
meaningless. It didn't have any sense of gravitas, no sense of importance. It was just like another match. And
yeah. But see, that one makes sense as to be on the pre-show. If that's the way they're going to go and be a nothing thing, okay, be on the pre-show. But Aries and Neville, I mean, getting the start, and I still think Aries will eventually win the Cruiserweight title, but I'm fine with Neville retaining. And I think we'll get an even better match the next time they go out there.
Well, I think...
15 minutes from them is better than some guys 20 and 25.
Absolutely.
Just whatever.
I think what we got from the pre-show was the Cruiserweight title and the Intercontinental title don't really mean much to the WWE, and the women do, because the women were all on the main show. So...
Absolutely. Definitely a perspective to take, and we're going to get into WrestleMania more on Tuesday. We have a post-SmackDown Live reaction show, recapping the post-WrestleMania Raw, SmackDown, and getting into more for WrestleMania. Sorry to cut it short, guys, but I do want to give you guys both a chance to promote stuff before we go. So, Evan, what is coming up this week on the Evan Ginsberg Show on Village Connection Radio?
I have international R&B ambassador Carlton J. Smith. He's played all over the world, tremendous performer, and he's going to be on the show, as well as local indie manager Mr. Big and poet John Winnell. So poetry, wrestling, and R&B. That's an interesting mix. This coming Sunday, 11 a.m., VillageConnectionRadio.com.
Now, Mr. Madison, what do you have coming up this week?
Just recently, I actually had a blog posted on Camel Clutch blog. An angel has risen. Basically, it was talks about finally, after 24 years, getting that world championship. Christopher Daniels, Ring of Honor, has captured their title, and how it's been so overdue. Actually had tweeted it out, and Mr. Daniels liked it, which is always comforting to know that it went around to the right people and has seen it. So that's out there. I've also posted on Sportskeeda that I think it was published yesterday, 5 biggest matches and moments for the month of March. Anything from the Broken Hardys capturing of the Ring of Honor championship. It's funny how they became the talking point of losing the titles yesterday in one promotion to winning the titles today in another. Could you talk a bigger moment in 48 hours of one set of wrestlers? I don't think you really could. And that's out there as well. I'll have something coming up on TGR TGRWrestling.net this coming Friday. Wrestling, WWE doesn't have to be a 4-letter word. Although it kind of seems like it's becoming that way. So, and that'll be on Friday. Yeah.
Well, there we go. All right, guys. Thank you for staying up late to come chat with me about WrestleMania 33 tonight.
You sound more disappointed than I am. You know, I expect very little from all of this, so I was okay with it. You sound disappointed, John.
See, Evan sets the bar low, so
That's
if
right.
anything
That's
matters,
right. Yeah.
it's easy to hit it when you set it low. When you set it high, that's the challenging part.
I guess I was just, I don't know, certain parts let me down. But that is going to do it for tonight, guys. We'll be back with you Tuesday night after SmackDown Live. BlogTalkRadio.com/ProWrestling.biz, Wrestling-News.net. We thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Thank you guys for calling in. And we'll see you guys back here Tuesday night, again, right after SmackDown Live. BlogTalkRadio.com /ProWrestling.biz, the .biz radio network, by breaking wrestling news. And until next time, guys, be good, be safe, and Lord willing, you'll be back with us on Tuesday night. Have a good one, everybody. So long.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
And now, insurance-minded speeches from Geico.
It's a common expression, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. However, what if the horse's mouth is filled with useful insurance tools? This is the exact case with the Geico app. Yes, the app is free and therefore a gift horse. However, look inside the app and behold, emergency roadside assistance, digital ID cards, bill pay. Get the Geico app. Look it in the mouth. Get amazing services. Thank you.
You've reached the Holiday Helpline. We turn the holidays into holidays.
Hi, my fam needs great looks for a winter wonderland party.
Get to Old Navy for Black Friday deals now.
Old Navy?
Yep, tomorrow only get hats, scarves, and gloves for just $5.
$5?
And get 40% off your entire purchase tomorrow. 50% off when you use or open an Old Navy card.
50% off?
Yep, turn your holiday into a holiday. Get to Old Navy today. Valid 11/17 select styles. 40% off valid 11/16 to 11/21. Excludes in-store clearance, gift cards, register lane items, jewelry, and today only deals. 50% off subject to credit approval. Valid 11/16 to 11/19. See stores for details.